Hey, what is going on? It's Michael. I'm going into business loan broker training and help. What's your why and your purpose in this video? I haven't done a business funding agent, loan broker, referral partner type of video in a while because I have other topics, projects, focuses, and I thought of making this. I believe this will be very helpful and of value to you. I've been in business funding for many years. I've been doing this successfully. I hit it hard my first 6 months. I've been doing things in credit, cash flow, collateral, liquidity, equity, real estate in the mix, and then some. I've participated in billion-dollar plus valuation projects. I put together business plans, detailed project budgets, 5 year, 7 year, etc., investment proposals. I look at documents, I read financials, bank statements, debt schedules, personal and business credit reports. I'm an introvert, analytical, cerebral, brainy person. I'm less words, more action. I know myself very, very well. I have personal development, self growth, self mastery, my habits, my routines, mind, body, spirit, soul, the mindset, the day to day operations as a person and in business, how we must function in day to day in business and in many more ways. So I can give you a deep perspective when it comes to becoming a business loan broker, getting into the right training, understanding this industry at a high level. Not only do I understand funding at a high level, processes at a high level, systems, I understand business at a high level. The numbers, customer acquisition costs to LTV, LTGP, new customer acquisition costs, servicing current customers, low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket residual income models, revenue models, strategic growth, analyzing businesses to help fix growth, scale them, improve, make better, add to, extend, do something new, all these types of things. I really love analyzing, auditing, reviewing businesses of many types, and I have restaurants in the food service, manufacturing, construction, online businesses, traditional and even non-traditional brick and mortar businesses. There are so many of them, and I haven't even mentioned a lot of them. Just infer what I'm not saying, what those businesses are. And I've helped out so many in my time of being a business loan broker, a funding expert, a business loan broker expert, whatever you want to call it. What's most important out of what I just shared with you, knowing funding at a high level, business, having multiple businesses, and as an entrepreneur, what's most important is character and characteristic traits. It's working on thyself, our belief system, our fear system, the way we think, the way we have thoughts about things deeply and not so deeply, process, compartmentalize our faith, our values, our governing principles, values, vision, mission, morals, ethics, governing principles, character, characteristic traits, all those things matter. And I'm going to touch more upon today on what's your why and your purpose. This is less about let's get into all the ways we can learn how to market. I'll have more resources for you down below. And if there's not a direct one, there's a place I recommend getting started with if you haven't yet. But before you even do any of that, I understand your frame of mind. If you haven't started or you've seen me before, you're doing it and it's working or it isn't working. Why is that the case? It could be a combination of things. It could be you, it could be the industry. I'm going to touch upon the industry in a second and then try to get back around to us as humans because a lot of the times we self-sabotage, we self-defeat ourselves, and a lot of that is because we are underdeveloped as people. I was once that way. So I'm not this superhuman being. I just every single day I work on myself in so many ways, mindfulness, meditation, assumptions, imagination, persisting in what I want to have and I don't have yet, what I have received, what I have transformed and achieved into. It's a process and it's a journey. It's a system to govern those processes. And all of this comes full circle. So I'll come back to us as people, but at the end of the day, that's where it starts. It's people are harder. Business can be hard and it can get harder and it can also get easier and the vice versa with people. But generally, people are just hard. And as an introvert, someone who is also personable, I'm not maybe the most personable. I'm very, people will say likable, trustworthy, know, like, and trust. I'm very sincere. I'm very accountable, responsible, and these types of things. I have my core values, my vision, my mission, my morals, my ethics, governing principles, character. And I know how it may sound. You don't have to have all that just yet or at all, but I hope you get to work on these things because it is of great value. So, training wise, let me just get a little bit out of that out of the way and come back to why and your purpose is yes, you can market online, offline, a combination. I do both. I have a digital footprint presence. I built my personal and business brand. I also do things offline every now and then, but mostly it is digitally. I have my connections. You can connect with vendors, suppliers, people who have connections with businesses, and they can connect you to them. You have accountants, bookkeepers. You have your local marketplace you can go to and capitalize on your local bank, different types of banks and go in there and build a relationship, form a relationship with the banking manager, somebody who opens up the most accounts, who opens up accounts. So you can have that in the door and they can connect you with businesses. There's different ways and angles you can approach this and go out and market. But to get the training for it, you have to know like how do you approach a business owner? I get that. And I'm going to have a recommendation down below for you to join and they give you resources. I have my own marketing material independently that I can share with you on how to market. And so, how do you greet and inform? What do you say when you follow up? What should you follow up with? An email? What'd you do when you were in person? If you weren't in person, a combination, a hybrid approach. What did you do? One or the other? What should you do to follow up consistently? Should you email a couple of times after how many days? What should that email look like? What should be in that email? What could be my click through when I have this email? My open rate, my KPIs. Are they clicking my link? There are those things that I can help you with and understand better and how to market. But ultimately, you need certification, or you just need training in general to understand the funding products. And most people don't do that. They want to ask everything and everything, but they don't want to go through training. And when there's not enough training, I get that. But when it's there, you go through it and you do it. You go through the training and you learn about the different products because ultimately you're a byproduct of it. You're the product that people are buying into. And ultimately, it's you that is the product. Now, when it comes to your why, what's that deep desire down here in the gut, internally, not externally? What is it here that is burning in pain and problems? What's persisting that you can't get out of that you need to do this? And it's not something that you just say, money. Everybody easily will say that. And a lot of people get in this industry because that might be the primary reason. Usually, a lot of the times it is. Primarily, I need to cover bills, expenses. I'm retired. And that's a whole different approach and a reason and a why behind what you do, what you do. Past experiences, if you've been a business owner, an entrepreneur, how you like to service and network with people, if that's a main reason why you do what you do, and it's an easy transition and you already have an effect, a cause and effect that works well within your community, or you think you're going to. And go deeper into where you are now and what you want to get yourself out of and the meaning behind that why. What's so much of a problem in your 9 to 5 or in another business or something else you're doing now? You want to get yourself out of unemployment benefits and finally do something or whatever that is. It's like you want to get yourself in a situation where I need to provide for my family. I need to give more. I felt like I've always been this way and I know that I can make a difference and change people by helping them get funding. My purpose will be to help them get funding in entrepreneurs or this specific class or people in their family. Now they can help people in their community and support their community. Because of them, now they're able to help their employees and create more jobs. Through them, you help them create more jobs. Yeah, that's great and everything. You got to look deep into your internal reason why you're doing what you are doing. Why do you want to pick this job, this career path? Make it a career? That's what you want to do? Okay. Are you here for a short term? Are you here to then pivot? What's your purpose? Helping who? Closing the gap with centralized banking, with unconventional banking, funding applications and methods because they can't go to a bank or they don't want to, or they momentarily just want to do this and they want to do a hybrid. There's a combination of things, but the purpose and the why can get lost very easily in this because it's a lot of the times transactional. And a lot of the clients, if I didn't know what a business loan broker was or I heard about it, I think that person was just trying to get after me and be very transactional, which a lot of the times people are that way, whether they are trained that way only or not. It's transactional. Make the sale. You're making your quota. You're making sure you're communicating with enough clients, and then you got to go to another client. But are you precisely doing it right? Instead of doing so much volume, you should do less volume or start it off with a lot of volume and then go down to less volume. I did a combination of that, less volume and more intimate quality. Not that it wasn't quality with more volume. It's just you got to define your purpose. And a lot of times the purpose can get lost in business funding because it is a lot of the times financially transactional, dull, dry. And you have to shape the person that you're communicating with and build know, like, and trust out of the gate to be here's funding. How much revenue is your business generating a month? No, building know, like, and trust and rapport in the beginning and understanding them, asking them questions about them and not in business per se, but as a person. And then in business, what do you love to experience? What are you doing when you're not in your business? What's your favorite hobby? What are you doing in that hobby most? Like, I don't know, it could be a lot of little things like that and you care to ask, not just to ask because you need to get to the next part. No. And I pick and choose who I get to work with. I've been doing that for many years. And I'm telling you, it's about character and working with the right people. Otherwise, you can be spinning your wheels. The process can take time. Underwriting, maybe they were telling you something and then they got disqualified. They changed their mind in the process, the offer, or they didn't get an offer. They changed their mind. They declined it. They had other thoughts. Maybe you didn't communicate well, you didn't build it, or you did, and they still did that. I'm at that phase. I've been doing that for many years where I build my know, like, and trust with people, and I truly care to build my know, like, and trust. And it's hard for me to trust people, especially in funding, where a lot of the times people they self-sabotage, they move the thing to thing, and they could care less about who the person is. I'm not saying all of them, but those who don't have the right character, the values, the vision, mission, don't even understand this, haven't built enough of a shield, enough tenacity. They haven't built that grit. They haven't been through things to understand that they want to grow themselves as people will always keep looking at the other person on the other side who does work on themselves and try to help them come to the finish line and do so much more than just funding. They will look at you a different way unless you shape their beliefs, unless you change them a little bit and get them to understand your perspective. You understand each other's perspective, you validate each other's concerns, be empathetic, not always be sympathetic when you don't need to be in the circumstance and the situation. So the purpose of all this can just fall flat. And I have some things down here, purpose, why the existence of yourself and business for a funding professional. It could be helping entrepreneurs and families access opportunities they couldn't otherwise afford, closing the capital gap for underbanked groups, being a trusted guide through an opaque financial system. There's so many more things that I can give you on purposefulness. And it starts with as a person identifying that and then in business. And with this kind of business, I don't recommend it the most. I've done well and I do well in it. I have all different services. And what I would recommend, I'll have more information down below. Yes, you can get into it. Yes, you can do that. And I also have things like this that I can give you if you want to work with B2B and B2C clients. But B2B, if you want to help them with financial literacy and growth, I can introduce you to that. A digital education membership you can use yourself and also share it with people. You can use that as an add-on service to funding and or to other services. You can use it. But helping people grow as people and in business, there's nothing better than that. And that's a greater purpose to get behind. So the transition from funding can be something just short term, where your long-term path and vision and purpose for something you're creating for yourself. Not saying that in funding you aren't creating something for yourself, but in service of others, you are serving others and you are in purpose of serving others. That's great. But for something you create for yourself, something that you have that you might think, even if you don't create for yourself all 100%, that product or whatever that means, that business, that entity, that's another part of creation and that people fall on. It's like, yes, it's purposeful because I'm not only helping people, I'm creating a site for myself. Great, but there's more beyond that. So creating something for yourself in an environment, a culture, an ecosystem where people can rest easily, consciously and subconsciously, yourself and others can feel great. And not all has to be around funding. Funding can be a supplemental, it could be your core product, but it doesn't have to be. And I don't recommend it be your core product. I'm telling you, as someone who's been doing this for many years, not telling you because of a competition. Not, I'm in competition with myself as a person and in business. Every single day, I start below dirt. I tell people that I'm not equal to it, I'm not above it, I'm below dirt in terms of I'm going to claw my way out of every day and I'm starting as if I started at zero and from complete scratch. You have to get to that mentality as a person and in business, personal growth and development that will get you into that when you start doing home business and other things. You start being in service of more than just others, in service of yourself so you can help others. So even if the mechanics are just loans, the purpose is unlocking growth for others. Great. Growth can be your primary purpose is growth in so many ways through you, through them, through helping them, you grow yourself. But are you truly growing yourself? You're growing yourself as a business? Are you growing yourself in understanding spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, and in many ways? Mind, body, spirit? And you can't just unlock that by working in your business and on the business on the outside. It's the things you do outside of that day to day as a person. Values, the principles that guide you how to act. These examples can be integrity and integrity on part of the business owner. I'm not saying they don't have that or the entrepreneur. There's a different mindset between being just a business owner and being an entrepreneur. Even entrepreneurs will fumble this because they don't work on themselves a lot of the times enough, or they just forget about it, or they just have so many things going on. But it's a combination of all of them. And making excuses for someone will not help you. And themselves making their own excuses will not help you. After some time, something that was validated correct as an excuse, but then it happens over and over, you have to adjust and understand that better and what to do to take action and to have better course. When you don't understand business, when you don't understand finance, when you don't understand other business models, it's from the outside, it's a lot. I get it, but it's very valuable. This is probably one of the most valuable pieces of video you're going to get and likely might not get a lot of views. I could care less about views. I care about who those who watch it get the most value because there's a lot of content. You have to be careful what you buy into. Training, don't even. I've had people come to me. I've helped a lot of people, brokers, agents, whatever level you want to be at. But you don't have to be primarily in funding. Contrary to what people you hear from do, they pump it up. They could be hoorahing it up. But understand the model that they're presenting to you. Are they actually going out to get clients? Why are they not? Oh, it makes sense why they weren't. Should they be doing that? Why they shouldn't be? What's the actual model in theirs? Referring, oh, okay, doing it this way. So you got to understand why people share with you what they share with you and at what time they do. How they do it is most important too. You got to understand that. Integrity, transparency, service, empowerment, empowering, bringing up a status, a level of status increase. Awesome. There's nothing better than that in helping others ascend to different levels in different ways, not just financially, their business. Great. But what did that allow them to do and have more breathing room, a peace of mind, safety, security, comfort? You can go on vacation a little more, not have to think about things so often. How about that? Financial literacy. That's one of the things I was sharing with you earlier. And I have things on this too, by the way, that you can share with people on financial literacy that I gave you in a Google Drive so you can share with people and be an affiliate of that product and share that with people. I have another product that I created and I'm in the process of creating another one that if I gave that to you and you could be an affiliate of it, that's another thing. I'm not sure if I'll do that and have its own affiliate program for that. But I would rather be doing these kinds of things, debt, emotional triggers to understand they won't just be receptive to financial literacy. Like, here's why business owners stay broke. Here's how to escape these things fast. Here's why they end up in a lot of debt. Here's how to overcome this in a little known strategy that most people don't know about. And number one in that, or number five in those five will help you the most. I don't know. It could be something like that. But understanding that there's a greater purpose in why behind what you do, that this doesn't have to stick to financing clients because a lot of things can happen. It's volatile. Just today, I dealt with a few clients. Not saying that the people, well, at least a couple of them weren't. Others, like their character, and like that's the whole thing. You can't expect everybody to have what you have or be where you want to be, but you got to be who you want to be. You got to live it now so you can be that person. And when you finally have it, you have it. You're not having to then, oh, I got to become the person. No, you are the person now. You've manifested it. You've aspired it to be. You've created what you've created. So understanding that if your values are strong, clients trust you more than the average broker, agent, referral partner who's only chasing a commission. And a lot of the times they only chase a commission. How they're programmed, what they get into this industry for. What I'm telling you is if you can get into this, if you want to do this, do this. I'm not saying don't, but understand what you're getting into. It can work, it can work. You have a network, you don't, you can still get out there and do it right. I'm not saying it's going to take all this time. It could, it might not. It just depends on your approach, your strategy, your tactics, and it can help you more. And it's just about, do I have enough now that I can take this and invest it in another business, start up a business, go acquire a business, do something else that I'm doing that doesn't have to be all funding finance related or just financing clients in general. It could be other funding services or not just servicing clients, but doing something that you can have on autopilot, passively, recurring low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket residual income, where you're not having to specifically have to service clients, like even build their websites out and do all. I've done all that stuff. Sometimes clients don't, most of the time, they don't have uh, they change the way they think about it. They always demand something. You got to find something different a lot of the time that it can free up your time. You have to trade your time for money. Don't have to trade your time for money. And so in funding, it could be laborious in terms of the mind, the energy. It could be going out. It could be different ways, not just the mind up here, bodies, that too, and more spirit. And it could be that a client drops off. They need to do this. They took forever to submit this. Oh man, I found that there was more uncovered after finding out this. There's another leak here. Oh man, I wish I would have known that earlier. Oh, they disappeared. You did everything. You likely shared with them as who you are, and they never come back. They never do that because if you didn't do all that first, if you didn't understand how to do that right, yeah, it could be you, it could be them, it could be a combination. But when you do it right, as if someone who's been doing this for years, who is very thoughtful, I'm a numbers guy, mathematical. I'm less front end. I'm better of a back end person. I do the front end stuff still, but I'm better back end. I'm the cerebral. Let me review, put these detailed project budgets together. I could be a full-time underwriter. Just don't because the opportunity cost of owning my own business. I'd rather look at financials. I'd rather be left alone behind the computer. That's who I am. But I can carry the front end work very well because I've done that before. I still do it from time to time. But I'd rather be behind the scenes processing, looking at the underwriting, paying attention to cash flow, EBITDA, profit margins, fulfillment per customer, understanding the numbers and how to grow this business and do that. If you can find purpose and meaning in that, that goes even further, I would say, than even finance. So financing, funding clients can be your entry point. If it's not your entry point, it's another product you're adding on top of a few things I just mentioned or other things. Is like funding. Now you get to understand businesses, get to understand real estate, get to understand these transactions, whether you've done this for yourself to get funding or not, you're helping others. Go start a business now, go acquire a business, go do something else. But take what you get here and start putting it in other places. Investing, if you haven't already, Bitcoin, crypto market, investment projects out there in equity and debt, shareholders, having collective shares, common stock. There's so much out there to do. You can put it back into this business and then put things into other places. But understand the gravity of this kind of business and what it asks for. It's not for the faint of heart. And even it is, it just depends on what you're doing. Even if somebody takes care of the process and everything, it's still, you have to go out there and do the front end. You don't have to do every part of it unless you're doing that now or you plan to, but you don't have to. You have somebody else who carries the processing. But even then, if your skill set is not to focus on the front end and you know you're better than that, not saying that that's bad or that's low. I'm not saying that. But if you're a numbers guy like me, if you're someone else who needs to be looking at documents and processing in different ways, have your hands in different places, then yes, you might value doing other things more than you do. Here are the requirements. You got to have 4 months in business and at least 3 months of bank statements. And between a percentage of an approval, and it depends on the service, we can go into more. You got to have no more than 3 inquiries. Like that's cool. A lot of people can go out there and explain those things. Now, how well they do it, that's a different thing. Consistently doing it, that's a whole different thing. But if I were only the guy doing that, I would be done. I'd be like out of this business. But it's an easy transition when you get into funding, or even before, like I was already understanding business, but even more now that I've understood finance funding for many years at a high level, doing it consistently, you can get into other businesses of consulting, or if it's not all exactly consulting with clients, email stuff, phone calls. I don't always do phone calls with people. I have different processes, systems in different ways. But you get to understand their business, analyze how you can help them grow beyond financing. They don't need funding now, or they do. Do they really need it? But understanding the business as a core, understanding its operations, the moving parts, and everything, upkeep, management, everything, you get to understand better. Vision, the big picture, future you're building toward, not just in business, but as a person. Maybe your vision isn't to be a funding agent forever, or a broker, or it's a part of it that you have. It when it's there, it's there. It's not your primary revenue source. It's not where you get 50% and over, or whatever that amount is. You can lose it and still have retained over 80, 90% of your revenue, whatever that is. But instead, to create a platform where access to capital is fair and efficient, to educate and empower small business owners so they aren't preyed on by predatory lenders, to use funding as a stepping stone to eventually invest in or build your own ventures, which is what I recommend. And yes, you can use this in so many ways and capitalize, and it's so helpful. Yes, through others, you're helping and that vision, but you start building things for yourself, or it's still that thing, but now you're helping communities, you're giving more impact, ESGs, SDGs, you're giving more value, you're building infrastructure, public systems, private systems, schools, communities coming together. There's so much more in purpose in that you can find through helping clients and funding, or you may not. And it gets dry, it gets tiring. You can burn out from doing this. So you have to find more vision behind what you do, purpose, values, and movement. Vision stretches beyond the day-to-day job and operations, what you do in business and in just life. And a business is a reflection of your life. I'm telling you that. You have the two commingle, but not commingle in terms of that. But you have the two meshed together as one, as an identity. Mission. What you do right now daily to work toward that vision. Example, I help entrepreneurs navigate funding options with clarity, honesty, and speed so they can grow with confidence and certainty and confidence. So that they can, which means that they can in future pacing it, but you can leave it like this in general. I help freelancers, I help SMBs, I help corporates, C corporate structure with an LLC, S corporate with an LLC, C corporation, whatever that is. I help mom and dads navigate their personal wealth through debt elimination strategies with it could be a specific thing you do. It could be more niche, it could be broad, and then you get more niche and narrow on what you do, or start niching. There you go. Morals and ethics, the difference between doing what's legal and what's right. So understanding what you're doing and being pushy, I could also say being pushy, being somebody who pressures someone. When you don't work on yourself, you don't do the things you as a person day to day, how you want to be treated is how you'll treat others. You'll continue to do these things just to make money. Push it through. Oh, but the terms, man, I'm going to make 3 points extra on this. No, do what's in the best interest of that other person and their business and businesses. And it goes beyond just business. If they defaulted, now they have a family they need to feed, their kids are in college, they can't pay for their tuition, they just got money taken out of their account by the lender, they came and seized those accounts, closed, shut off accounts, whatever that is. You have to think farther beyond money. Don't do this for the money. Like people say they go into like insurance and things or whatever else. Oh, I'm doing it because of the money. I asked somebody once, that was their answer. Could I have asked the question specifically why personally, besides what they're doing in their job, business, whatever it is? Sure, but that's not the point. They should be able to tell you and me why you got in this. Oh, well, the money. No, because I want more for my family. I wanted to do something different. I had a path and vision in mind. By starting this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. I can go and invest more. I can help my community, hospitals, and do a lot more. In funding, this is huge. You can push clients into high interest products, sure, legal, or you can structure deals that truly serve their long-term interest, ethical, combination of the two, sure. I'm not saying one goes without the other. Over time, this determines whether you build a sustainable reputation or burn out quickly. And reputation starts with the person. It's not your business. It's like it's who you are as a personal brand. You sharing your experiences with people goes a long ways. At least picking three things that if you had a video recording of you just in your kitchen cooking, chopping up some onions, that's showing you and what you value. Do you let people in to what you value? Do you see what they value, what they like to do? Not saying you always have to video record. If you do that, you do like a live online or something. I appear on Instagram from time to time, just so you know this. If you ever want to join me, I'll try to leave my group or my Instagram profile down below. If I don't, that's okay. But I have several ones. One that I focus on mostly for my funding clients, and I have topics on there like what you're hearing today, not just funding, business, marketing. I'm not a salesperson, but I know sales. Was once a chemical engineering student, went into business, got my degree there. Worked construction, manufacturing, warehousing, ramp agent, courier role, administrative dispatch there, logistics, financial logistics, data budgeting, a lot of brain work. I've done brain work, lifting, physical things, but I'm more reserved. I'm trying to tell you that the loudest person in the room doesn't always mean they're the right person in that room. You should understand who the most quietest person when you walk into a room is. Not saying that that's always the right person, and you might not think that person is something that you think they would do because it's what you perceive. But when you come to that person and I speak to you intimately, quietly, maybe I raise my tonality a little bit, and I give you feedback, get to know you a little bit, understand you because I care to. You're the kind of person too I want to know more to. And then we go into business like, man, that guy, person I didn't even know they would have been that. You walk out of that. That's the person you need to align yourself with. And understand that there's more beyond words, it's action. Just because I don't say everything, you should be inferring what I'm not saying. And I'm the person who infers a lot. I'm not always direct. I can be direct when I have to be with the right person in the right circumstance, and I will do it. But infer what I'm not saying. It's not always what you hear, it's what you don't hear. So what you do right now, daily to work toward that vision is with your mission. Excuse me. The difference between doing what's legal and doing what's right, and down here building a sustainable reputation, making sure that that is affordable, dominant, that and dominant not like you got to dominate over someone. No, that is durable. Excuse me. And if you do everything, you've done everything. Governing principles, the non-negotiables, you live and operate by. For example, always disclosing terms fully, understanding that what you can and can't say, what you should and shouldn't say at what times, and not just saying something to appease the person and appease yourself. You're tricking yourself, your mind, your brain by later then you knew that now, but then afterwards it's like, oh, or you just kind of keep going on with what you're doing. Educate before selling, always educating, helping them, giving them value, 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 value. Lead in with value as yourself and in your business and in business and funding, giving them value. Value doesn't mean just funding requirements. There's more to this in business, relating with them in business. That's why understanding business, real estate, and more is helpful. Treating every client as if they were your family and how you want to be treated, as how I said earlier. As a friend you just met for today, or they were always a friend. That's how you are as a person. And they'll want to show up for you even when you don't even do the funding. It's like they just remember you because of you and your story, sharing your story, your personal journey, and being relatable. Your story is it, without going into the framework and all that today. So does being a loan broker have little purpose? It depends on how you frame it. It's just make commissions and leave it, then yes, it could be a short-term hustle or maybe long-term too. If you attach it to something bigger, helping entrepreneurs grow, bridging capital inequality, building a long-term network, or even using it as a launch pad for your own ventures, then it has a deeper purpose. Both perspectives are valid. Some people are in funding for a couple of years. They stack cash and pivot into investing or startups or other things. Others see it as their lifetime, long time career, building firms with thousands of clients and real legacy impact. Great. If that's you, that's you. You could do a combination of them. I'm not saying you can't and have multiple things, but you have to think about kind of like school is. I went to school, I studied, and I went to school to school. I didn't go there like people you hear, go to network. That's what you're going to get the most out of. Go to school, go to learn topics that you otherwise wouldn't have, and put yourself in an uncomfortable position to grow. Because when you learn that, you educate yourself in topics and things that you're not strongest at. But why am I going to waste money in tuition? That's not the point. Take a topic in a course every now and then that you have on the side that accounts to your credits, but it's not like the defining class, but you're still going to work hard at it. Do it and learn it. I took quite a bit in college, university. I did community too, and I'm well versed. Physical sciences, chemistry is my favorite class, and then I went into the social sciences. I was more of a like physical science type person than I was social sciences. And then I went into economics, micro, macro, finance classes, and more. And I put myself in communication class, and that was one of the hardest things I ever did. Communication was difficult, and it still is difficult for me. I was that person in my head, more thoughtful, you could say, just didn't understand myself. I was always misunderstood, and I still am to a degree, which is fine. Misunderstand me, but I'm doing the things I need to do. A lot of the times, if you're not misunderstood, you're not doing the things you need to be doing. You always have to be justifying and validating things to everybody. Be misunderstood because normal, what's normal? Doing it right, obviously, but being misunderstood because you're growing and you're doing the things that are not normal to everyone else and average. So it's about having a more definite and long-term purpose. And if going to school is you learn, yeah, you network. Is that the primary thing? Secondary could be the primary, but then you learn that you're attaching yourself to more after that. There's more. If that's not the field you went into, but you use these skills and these traits to do more, to evolve into more. So you got to think about that in your job. That could be the same thing. use transferable skills. Non-transferable skills are 100%. So you learn new ones and you get out of your comfort zone to grow. So coming back to it, not to recap all of this, but you get to see this as I'm scrolling up: purpose, values, vision, mission, morals, ethics, governing principles, character, characteristic traits. And what does all this have to do with business loan broker training? Well, I gave you a bit of what you can do so you can get ahead, marketing a little bit. There's more that I can give you, but getting the training in general will help propel you to more. But understanding that this doesn't have to be the only thing you do, and I don't always recommend it be the only thing. You can be a rock star and do it well. What is he talking about? I've been in banking for a while or whatever. I've heard people tell me those kinds of things. That's not the point. The point is longevity. The point is purpose. The point is, are you really creating something more for yourself? What more do you want for yourself? And is this enough? If it's enough, it's enough. Great. But understand this, that you can do this in many capacities. You don't have to be a talker. I'm an action taker. I'm more action than talk. I'm going to show you, and that's going to back up everything. I'm not talking. I'm going to go and show you. Right now, you see me doing this because of the video. I'd rather not be on video. Just a more helpful, valuable way for you to get information. So understand that there's training. You don't have to always pay for it or pay for it at all. And you can go get certified. There's things I'm going to show you. And getting the training, even if you're not certified, but understanding that you need to know what you're communicating. You need to know what you're sharing with people in an email in different formats and modes. But at the end of the day, what's your why and what's your purpose? And if it's not this business, I'll have more down below that I recommend. If it is this, okay, great, run with it. I can help you. But have a realistic perspective on what this business is. And sure, there's a lot of moving parts. Even if you're not controlling those, it's out of your control. It's like we got to go through this. Now we got to do the front end. We got to do this. I'm not saying it's exhausting, but certain clients will make it exhausting. They will make it tiring. And you have to ask yourself, are you up for that? You have the right people, you have the right people. When you don't, you don't. And yeah, so not telling you to stay away from this. It can work. And yeah, sure, commission wise, certain times are better than other things, but it's not all about the money. It's about purpose. It's about identifying that. If you don't identify that now, you could identify it throughout, or it can change, or it can change. But understanding this industry, and someone from my experience and my background in business, in funding in business, and as a person, you're not going to find many, if at all, anyone like that. And I'm not saying this, I'm not cocky. I'm confident. I'm certain. I'm a Libra if that says anything. I'm a harmony, balance seeking type person. I'm a connector. I live in Washington State. I love to fish. I'm a very simple, non-materialistic person. I have myself together. It's those who don't you have to be careful about, and who you're getting information from. Just because somebody can say it loud and the way you wanted it to be said, or it sounded good, there's more to that you have to pay attention to. And if you don't understand marketing lingo, you don't understand this business, you can easily get in it and trapped. And if not trapped or trapped, it's a combination of different things. So I'm just here to help you. Hope this was of value. Leave me a comment if you have anything, questions, comments, or concerns. And just check this description out too, and I'll have more information there. Thank you and talk to you soon.